For decades, global supply chains were treated as invisible systems, efficient, boring, and quietly functioning in the background. Ships moved, trucks delivered, planes transported, and the world kept running. But over the last few years, something shifted. Governments, corporations, and even intelligence agencies began to realize a hard truth. Whoever controls the world's supply chains controls the world's power structure. And suddenly, logistics transformed from a mundane economic function into a battlefield. The modern economy is no longer defined by military bases or oil fields alone. It is defined by semiconductor shipments, rare earth mineral routes, pharmaceutical supply lines, and the ability to keep cargo moving in a world that depends on everything arriving just in time. A single bottleneck can shut down entire industries. A single port closure can trigger inflation in multiple countries. A single country controlling a key shipping route can dictate global prices. COVID-19 exposed this vulnerability brutally. Shelves emptied, factories halted, nations panicked. That shock changed everything. Countries that once outsourced everything began fighting to regain control. China strengthened its Belt and Road Initiative. The U.S. began reshoring critical manufacturing. Europe invested billions to protect its logistics corridors. Even smaller nations started weaponizing ports, railways, and cargo routes to gain leverage. Today, logistics is no longer about moving goods. It is about shaping geopolitical outcomes. A blocked canal can disrupt military power. A withheld shipment of rare minerals can damage an entire tech industry. A cyber attack on a port can cripple a nation's economy overnight. This is the new era, supply chains as weapons. Nations no longer need missiles to hurt each other. They only need to delay, restrict, or control the flow of goods the world relies on. The battlefield is no longer land or sea. It is the global logistics grid. In the modern global economy, ports are no longer just entry points for goods. They have quietly transformed into geopolitical chess pieces. Nations have begun treating shipping routes, logistics hubs, and maritime infrastructure as strategic weapons that can be used to pressure rivals, protect national interests, or gain leverage in global negotiations. The world's supply chains run through these gateways, and whoever controls them controls the flow of modern civilization itself. Consider how major powers now compete to own or influence key ports across Africa, Asia, and Europe. These ports are not simply economic investments. They are footholds, powerful nodes that can be used to reroute global trade, deny access to competitors, or monitor the movement of rival nations' cargo. Control of a port means control of the lifeline feeding entire economies. It means deciding which goods move first, which get delayed, and which never arrive at all. Shipping routes are equally weaponized. Choke points like the Strait of Hormuz, the South China Sea, the Panama Canal, and the Red Sea have become hotspots where nations flex military power to secure dominance. A single blockage, accidental or intentional, can raise global prices, trigger shortages, or cripple industries thousands of miles away. And countries know this. They study it. They prepare for it. Even critical inland infrastructure, rail networks, warehouses, distribution centers, has become part of this silent warfare. Governments increasingly invest in their own national logistics networks while, at the same time, covertly disrupting or influencing others through cyber attacks, trade restrictions, or diplomatic pressure. What once looked like harmless infrastructure now determines the fate of global economies. The world is realizing that the true battlefield of the 21st century isn't fought with bombs. It is fought with containers, ports, and shipping lanes. In the modern world, it's easy to assume that governments run global trade. But look beneath the surface and you'll find a very different truth. Private logistics giants, shipping companies, warehouse networks, port operators, freight brokers, and data routing platforms now control the arteries of the world economy. These companies operate in ways that look less like businesses and more like global cartels, quietly shaping the movement of goods, the speed of trade, and even the cost of living for billions of people. Their power comes from something deceptively simple. Whoever controls the flow, controls the world. A country may produce food, electronics, or medicines, but if one corporation controls the ships, containers, routes, ports, and software, the movement of those goods depends entirely on them. During global crises, logistics companies discovered they were no longer service providers. They were kingmakers. They could decide whose cargo moved first, whose containers stayed stuck, whose shelves stayed full, and whose economy collapsed under shortages. Behind the scenes, mergers and acquisitions have created a handful of megafirms that dominate everything from ocean freight to last-mile delivery. They own not just ships, but ports, warehouses, rail lines, trucking fleets, and digital tracking systems. They know exactly what moves across borders, who is buying what, which regions are vulnerable, and where the next shortage will hit. This isn't just power, it's leverage. Governments depend on these corporations for national security. Companies depend on them for survival. Consumers depend on them for basic necessities. And in this dependency, logistics giants find their influence growing faster than any government can regulate. In the new era of supply chain warfare, the battlefield isn't land or sea, it's the global warehouse. And the most powerful players aren't armies, they're the companies that move boxes. Over the past decade, logistics has quietly transformed from a boring back-office function into one of the most powerful geopolitical weapons in the world. This shift happened because every modern economy, whether it's the U.S., China, India, or Europe, now depends on digital logistics networks to move goods, raw materials, fuel, and data at near-instant speeds. The companies that control these networks aren't just trucking firms or shipping lines. They are AI-driven global platforms that track every shipment, every port, every vehicle, and every movement in real time. And whoever controls the flow of goods controls the world. This is why nations are suddenly treating logistics infrastructure the same way they treat nuclear facilities or military bases. Ports are being nationalized. Rail networks are being fortified. Digital tracking systems are being encrypted. Even simple cargo scanners have turned into high-value assets because they reveal who is moving what, when, and where. Supply chain visibility has become a form of intelligence gathering. But the real danger lies in how quickly digital sabotage can cripple an entire country. A single hacked port system can delay thousands of containers. A manipulated GPS network can misdirect fleets. A cyber attack on warehouse software can freeze essential supplies like food, medicine, and fuel. Modern economies run on real-time coordination, and disrupting that coordination is now easier than ever. This is why global powers are building parallel logistics empires, each designed to bypass rivals. China has the Belt and Road Initiative. The U.S. is securing its own network through military alliances and trade deals. Europe is constructing digital customs walls. India is building domestic production hubs to reduce dependency. The battlefield has shifted. Wars no longer begin with tanks. They begin with delayed shipments, broken ports, and choked supply lines. In the 21st century, global power is no longer defined only by military strength or nuclear stockpiles. The new battlefield is far quieter, far more complex, and far more decisive. The global supply chain. Every nation depends on the constant movement of food, fuel, minerals, medicines, chips, and manufactured goods. And whoever can slow, redirect, or restrict these flows holds immense leverage, without firing a single shot. This is the essence of the new power game. Control the flow, control the world. Countries are now building strategies around this idea. Instead of invading territories, they are targeting trade routes, ports, rail choke points, semiconductor hubs, energy corridors, and rare earth processing facilities. A single delayed shipment can shut down a factory. A blocked strait can freeze an entire continent. A halted export can collapse international markets. This gives governments tools that are invisible, deniable, and incredibly effective. We are entering an era where supply chain pressure is the new diplomacy. Nations threaten export bans instead of sanctions. They hoard essential minerals instead of negotiating. They weaponize dependence instead of negotiating alliances. Every container ship, every pipeline, every fiber optic cable becomes a strategic asset. The world is reorganizing into blocks built not on ideology, but on logistics security. Trust is replaced by self-interest. Cooperation is replaced by strategic stockpiling. And global trade, once the great stabilizer, is now a weapon in itself. The future of power belongs to those who can keep their goods moving while stopping others.